All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Come on in. It is 4 minutes till, and you know what that means. It gives you an opportunity to share. And I'm doing the same thing so that when we get started at 8 p.m., we will be on time. Thank you all for tuning in. Come on in. You know someone who needs this topic, and we won't hold you long. So go ahead and share this out with someone. I am doing the same thing. Hey there, good to see you. Yes, please say hello to us. Let us know that you're here. I am sharing right now just to let some folks know that we are on. I'm hoping that you're doing the same. And I will introduce myself in a moment, but I've got to do my due diligence and let someone know that we're here. Please say hello to us. Let us know that you're here. We have an amazing conversation in store for you today. Just really excited about the opportunity to talk about something we all need at this point, because all of us have been waiting or will end up waiting on something. And so we all need some encouragement today. I'm hoping that you will say hello and you will share this out with someone. I can see you all already. Hey there, beautiful. How are you? Oh my goodness. I did not know that, Justice. All right. So you're supposed to be here, right? All right. All of you all who are here, say hello. Thank you for joining us. We are so glad that you are here tonight. My name is Trinace Richardson, and I am the founder of Real Women Rock, because we do. And you can find us at realwomenrock.org. Again, that's realwomenrock.org. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we exist to create safe spaces for women to do personal development work on themselves. And we do that through sister circles. We believe that every woman should have access to a sister circle, no matter where she lives in the world. And we are doing our very level best to make sure that that happens. We were, before COVID, meeting in person in several areas on a monthly basis. We have established monthly sister circles in a lot of places, but since COVID, we have opened up our sister circles to you wherever you are in the world. You are invited to come free of charge to our sister circles. And so we are hosting our November sister circle on November 21st. It is going to be an amazing conversation, and we're calling it Party Canceled. And so you got to come and find out what party is being canceled so that we can talk about it together. And then we have one scheduled in December. You will be able to get all of that information at realwomenrock.org. And we're also going to paste it on all of our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we're looking forward to having you with us in our virtual sister circle. We do them on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Tonight is an opportunity for you to get a sneak peek into a real conversation with real women. Oh, shucks now. Somebody say I'm looking cute tonight. I appreciate it. That's funny. You're making me blush. Hey there, Kimberly. Come on in, you all. So listen, this topic is so important because we are literally waiting on something right now. All of us are, right? We are waiting on something right now, day after. And so, but in our personal lives, we have all felt the trying to figure out whether we are waiting for whether it's a delay or whether it's a denial. And so I am looking forward to having this conversation with our guest. So I hope I've given you enough time to share it. I've given you all the announcements. It's 8 o'clock. I am ready to share our guest with you. Listen, Sharon Porter is amazing. If y'all don't know it, you're about to find out. I have the opportunity. I've done so much in, whether it's been in ministry circles or in education circles, and now in marketplace circles, that I've had the opportunity, Sharon, to see you in most of those circles working your stuff. And so it has been amazing to see a like-minded sister just doing her level best to present all of what God has placed in her out into the world to help other people. And so I am elated to share this with you. I thank you for sharing your platform with me before, having been on your talk show, and now to have you here. I'm so excited. And so I could do, my best to share all of the platforms that you have in leadership, and as a speaker, and as a talk show host. If you could formalize it for me. Thank you for being here. Share with us, say hello, and tell us who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Trinice, I first want to say thank you. I am, first of all, humbled and honored to be here. So thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely.
And as Dr. Richardson said, I am Dr. Sharon H. Porter. I am an educator by profession. I'm an elementary school principal in the Washington, D.C. area, but I'm also an entrepreneur as well. I am the CEO of Perfect Time SHP Publishing. I'm a best-selling author. I'm also a talk show host with the I Am Dr. Sharon show. We actually have three different segments, one for educators, which is Education First, one for authors, the book talk show, and then one for business owners and entrepreneurs entitled It's All Business. I'm also the editor-in-chief of Vision and Purpose Lifestyle Magazine. We are just celebrating 6 months, so
So
we're really
wait,
excited
wait,
about that.
let's slow
Yes.
down. Let's just slow down. You not only write books, but you publish them. I just want to
Yes.
stick that in there. Go ahead.
That's absolutely correct. And that's really my focus right now, because I don't have time to write right now, because I'm about publishing others. Thank you for that excitement. And I'm also the executive director of the Next in Line Aspiring Principal Leadership Academy, where I train assistant principals who would like to take the helm as principal in their school district. So I'm just excited. So thank you.
Yeah, it is such a blessing to have you with us. I'm so glad that you're here. I want to get right to it because this is going to fly by. I have put in the chat, you all know how this goes. This is interactive. I am looking for comments and questions in the chat so that we can talk with you and not to you or at you. And our topic for tonight is a delay is not a denial. And I think about so many things, as I mentioned already, that we are all waiting on at least one thing tonight. We're waiting to see the outcome of this doggone election. But in our personal lives, we have all been stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to figure out whether we were actually supposed to acquire or attain something, because it has not yet come to manifest or materialize. And so we're trying to figure out, is that a no or is that a not yet? It's a really hard place to be in. And so I wanted to ask you all in the chat before I ask Sharon the first question. What are you waiting on? I really want to know, in general. You can be as general as you'd like to be or as specific as you need to be. What are you in this season waiting on? And so let's just talk about it, right? Let's have a conversation about the things we either have or are waiting on, or we know at some point, even if we feel like we've got all bases covered right now, there may come a point in the future that we're waiting on something. So I'd love for you to share, because you've mentioned you do so much, right? You're a CEO, you're a speaker, you're an author, you're a publisher, you're a podcaster, you're a talk show host. You have all of these things. One might think that you may not have gone through anything. You haven't had to wait on anything. You've just kind of caught the bull by the horns and just rode it out and done everything that you needed to do. Could you share just it? We've heard your accomplishments and where you are right now, but what have been the hills or the valleys that have gotten you to this place? What hardships have you had where you might have even found yourself waiting?
Absolutely. And that topic is just so dear to me. It was actually a chapter in a book for me. And I talk about it often. So I have to go back to 2006. I always had the dream of getting my doctoral degree. Like, that has been something that I've always wanted to do in education. And so 2006, I entered a program, excited, excited to do that. and you know that it's a feat, you know that. And so I was up for the challenge. And so the particular program that I enrolled in 2006 was a 3-year program. The expectation, you was in a cohort that you would finish in 3 years, 2 years to do your coursework, 1 year to do your research and write your dissertation, defend, and all of that good stuff. And so I was on a roll, Trinice. I was on a roll. 2006, finished up my coursework in 2 years, right on time, 2008. And then October 2nd, Thursday, October 2nd, 2008, my father passed.
Wow.
And let me tell you, that stopped me in my tracks.
Wow.
It was as if I was in a fog and couldn't maneuver my way out. And so I basically, and I was on student loans. And so I continued accruing student loans without doing anything after those 2 years. I could not, I was stuck.
Wow.
I even relocated back to North Carolina in 2011, just trying to find my way, trying to support my family, just trying to do, because it was devastating. This was a devastating loss for me.
Yeah.
In 2011, in the middle of 2011, I received an email from the university indicating that my time was almost up. They give you 6 years. So y'all, I have been doing this for 6 years and had not attained anything, had not done anything past the coursework.
Wow.
So
I cannot wait to talk to you after this. Go ahead. Story.
So after, right, and so I got this message indicating, you got to do something. Basically, you either need to finish, or they let me know that I had enough credits to get the specialist degree, the EDS. So I could do one of the two things. And so after looking at everything, I just decided, I'm just going to use my credits, get my specialist, and just leave it at that. And I was crushed. I was actually embarrassed, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah.
Actually, even though I had attained another degree, it was not the one that I sought out to get.
I hear you.
And so, I had the EDS, and I eventually moved back, relocated back to Maryland. And I was sitting, and I was the principal on Joint Base Andrews at the time. And an email came through indicating there was a cohort starting for my school district, and they were giving you a 50% scholarship.
Wow.
Just apply. So I'm thinking, do I really want to go through this again? Because mind you, I used all my credits. So that means I had to start all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But something in me said, do it.
Wow.
Something said, do it. And because at that point, I was thinking to myself, was I supposed to get it? Or, was I supposed to just leave it, because, and that's what you talked about earlier. I really had to think about that thing because, it's time consuming trying to get through this process. So nevertheless, something just came over me and said, apply.
Yeah.
I applied. I was granted the scholarship, was able to do it. 2017, I graduated from Howard University with my doctorate degree. Wow. Mind you, that's 9 years.
Wow.
6 years through this process, and then 3 more years. 9 years.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized that delayed is not denied.
Wow.
I realized that.
Wow.
What the lesson was is you had to find the purpose for that delayed. You understand? So, and that's a whole nother show. But let me tell you.
Well, let me interrupt you because there are so many places we can go with this. Remember, y'all, I want to know what you're waiting on. So the question that you are answering in the chat right now is, what are you waiting on? Are you waiting on a relationship or a relationship issue to be resolved? Are you waiting to finish school? We're going to talk about this because Sharon hit a nerve with me. I'm going to tell you about it in a second. But are you waiting on a health issue to be resolved? Are you waiting, are you really just anxious and upset right now in your feelings about what's happening politically or socially right now, racially in society? What are you waiting on that you feel like you're like, where are you, God? Just tell me no or tell me not yet. Make it clear what's happening right now. I want to know in the chat, what are you waiting on? Because listen, when you said school, it took me 10 years to get my doctorate. 10 years. I used to joke about it and say, just call me Dr. Dunn, because by the time I finish this, it is called terminal for a reason. That means there are no
Exactly.
more degrees after this. 10 long years, and I was in maybe a 4-year, 4.5, 5-year program. But life happens, as you said, and I love what you said, because the why, the purpose is connected to whether it's a delay or it's a denial. And I can see the hardships that come in the middle of it. I believe you said your father passing, and so life happening. You know, and someone else might say settling, and I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. But settling for the EDS. But what all of those things, those detours, keeping in mind ultimately, what am I using this for? What is this supposed to be about? Allowed you to see it 9 years later come to fruition. And in the meantime, even though you had hills and valleys and hardships, you were still working, you were still moving forward in the midst of it. And so I just believe that in the midst of us moving and getting through our hardships and all that we have to go through while we're waiting for something, it can come to pass if there's a why, an intention, as you said, a purpose for it that has to be manifested. And you know, we don't always know in the middle of it whether it's going to come or not, but if it has to be manifested, it will. So thank you for sharing that. Someone said, oh my goodness, I'm waiting for a relationship to be resolved, and just trying to figure out, you know, whether it's not now or whether it's no. That is such a hard thing. Could you share with us what more about that purpose? I said I was going to release you to share more about it, but how did you know that that was kind of on the other end of it for you? We are, you know, we're trying to figure out right now whether what we want to happen is going to happen, and everybody wants something different to happen this week.
That's right. That's right.
But whether what we want to happen this week is going to happen or not. How do we know in the midst of it whether God is saying, you know, not right now, or whether God is saying, you know, no, this is not for you? That's a hard place.
It is. It's extremely hard. And for me, I'm a faith walker. And you know, and that goes without saying. So I pray about everything, you know. And so I ask for discernment. That's one of the things that I ask, because I truly want to know what is it that I'm supposed to do. And like that's like in my heart to do, right? And so I just really want something, just, and I say something, but the Spirit just came over me and made me realize that, hey, you need to go after what you started, because that was the first thing. It was not much. There's not a goal, not too many goals that I go after that I don't reach, you know? And so that one was a blow for me. And like I said, it's even instead of celebrating the EDS, I was almost shameful. And then I had to turn that around as well. I had to turn that around as well.
Wow.
I had to sit and talk to myself. Hey, that's your 4th degree. You be proud of that EDS. And so then I was on, because, you know, when you change your mindset, you can change the direction that you're going. And so that's what I had to do.
Quick, because you said something so key. A lot of times we are waiting on whatever the thing is that has not happened yet, that we don't appreciate what we have already accomplished.
Absolutely.
We don't appreciate where we are right now.
Yes.
And so there's this discontentment that would cause us not to be content or satisfied with where we are, because we're so discontent about where we are not right now, or where we want to be. And so I love that you talk to yourself, and you were telling yourself, like, you need to appreciate what you already accomplished, girl.
Be proud of this EDS. Absolutely. Because I'm telling you, I was shameful at first. But, you know, and I got it together real quick, because I think that's when things started working for me. You have to be grateful, like, for everything. For everything. And so that's when things began to changed for me. That's when my mindset, and then I had to think back on the lessons that I had to learn from getting that ED, because that's what helped me through this doctoral program at Howard. I
Yeah.
remembered the things that I had to go through, right? And
Yeah.
so all of those things happened for me. But I tell you, about maybe 2 years ago, first of all, I'm a journaler. I love writing, and I have journals all over the house
Yeah.
from years. I picked up one, Trinice, that I had written in probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And mm, it said that I was going to get a doctorate from Howard University. I didn't even remember writing that. Let
Wow.
me tell you, I don't even remember me writing that, because I'm a writer. I write out what I want to see.
Yeah.
I don't even remember writing that. And
Wow.
it brought tears to my eyes to read that, something I had written 10 years ago.
Okay.
So,
Stop. You got me excited.
okay.
So I hear you saying, thank you for sharing that. I hear you saying that one of the ways that we can manifest what we are waiting on, no matter how long it is, because someone in the chat has even asked, just trying to figure out how long the wait is, right? So we're going to talk about that in a second. But one of the ways is to start right now writing out what it is you want
What
to
it is
see
you want.
manifested.
Yes.
And it happened, it manifested for you so long after you wrote it that you don't even remember writing it. But
Absolutely.
it helps to write the vision, right? It helps
Make it
to
plain.
write out. I think it does something for us. I don't necessarily think, there is something ethereal and magical that happens, or even miraculous that happens on God's end, because God knows what's going to happen, right? I
Exactly.
think it happens for us that we end up subconsciously on the road we're supposed to be on,
Yes.
even with every hardship and every detour. We end up on that road because we have already made it more concrete in our head and our hearts
Yes.
by writing it out. I
Uh,
love that you did.
yes.
Yeah, that is so good.
Yes.
Let me
Yes.
tell you real quick, because we got a couple of questions. Let me see. Some folks are waiting on COVID to go.
Yes. I think we are waiting on that.
Right, to finish some things, to finish schooling and training. Some folks are waiting on an opportunity to return to school.
Mm,
And getting over relationships and trying to figure
mm,
out whether somebody's coming back or not. Just really, just in a place where you can't control the outcome. We can't control the COVID outcome. We can't control
right.
the relationship outcome. Waiting on or feeling like, you were denied or delayed in a relationship or a friendship that was toxic. So many things, waiting on health issues to be resolved. And I love what this person said about, Donna said about health issues. I currently see God lining everything up. It's taking place one phase at a time,
Mm,
but I couldn't see God working it out until I stilled myself. Oh,
wow.
so good. So good. So I want to ask you this, because it is, and I have a couple of thoughts about this, but we come to these kinds of lives and conversations for real practical advice. And you've already given us one. Based on your experience, what would you suggest we do as women, especially who are waiting on something, who are trying to figure out whether it's going to come to fruition or not, whether it is, and I'll mention this in a second, the difference, in my opinion, between, or knowing delay or denial. But what is your advice as it relates to, we're in that stuck place? What do we
Mhm.
practically do right now?
Absolutely. And one of the things I would say is don't continue to be stuck. Like, we may not know the direction or what to do, but find yourself doing something,
That's
right? And,
good.
that's the one thing that I found out that you've got to keep going. And then, as things become clear, your path will become clear. Once you know the destination, your path is going to make way for you. And so you'll know that. And so I always say, don't just stand still,
Mm,
do something while you're standing there, and finding out what's the best way for you to go. So I would definitely say that, never come out of a situation having done nothing, you
yeah.
know, because,
Yeah.
you want to take that time to be still and listen, but then faith without work is dead. So you've got to do something.
I love the both and. Um, I call it active patience, right?
Yes, yes,
So
I love it. That's
active patience.
exactly
So
it.
I have to do something while I'm waiting.
Yes,
And I love what Donna said, because it's a being still in the sense of, I am not going to I can't make this happen.
make it
I
right.
can't move this mountain necessarily. So I'm going to do what I can do while I wait for the manifestation of what I cannot control. And so the being still is kind of still of mind and heart, that those things, serenity prayer and all those things I cannot control. Just give me peace, give me the sense of patience, and those things that I can do in this time frame, let me do it, let me work on it. And I would add to that, Sharon, you made me think about, I think it may have been, yep, I believe Donna said it as well, that it's important to take one step at a time. Just literally, I could get stuck on the fact that I have 4 more years to go, or I have absolutely no clue when my relationship is going to be resolved, or I have no clue when my health issue is going to be resolved. But I love what Donna said. What can I do today? What
Yes,
step can I take toward that today? Do I need to do some research about school? Do I need to put myself out there again related to relationships? Do I need to get a counselor to help me detangle and detach from a toxic relationship? Do I need to eat better or walk more or move more? Do I need to put myself in the position where I am in a healthier space so that when things do open up financially, do I need to get my money together while
yes.
I'm waiting for things to open back up again? So what are we doing while we are waiting? I love that. Yeah, you have, and people, I told you this goes really fast, right? This is
I
just
know.
literally the sneak peek into a conversation with real women. And so we just talked for a few minutes. I would love to hear your take on how you have been able to tell. Like, have you had some denials in your life? Have you had some no's, and have you had some not yets? And were you able to make a distinction between the two?
Actually, I have, and the distinction really comes from that discernment, because when things come to me, no matter how they come, when that feeling comes over me and it says leave it alone, guess
Mm,
what I do? I leave it alone.
mm,
That's just how I operate, and that's in business relationships.
mm.
And one of the things that I've learned, don't force. If it doesn't fit, don't force, right? And so I feel like a few because everybody you can't do business with. I'm just a believer of
Tell it,
that.
Sharon.
I'm just a believer of that. And I'm talking
Mhm.
about, opportunities where it could have been a major contract.
Yeah,
But if it wasn't right, you're still trying to make it right, that's a no.
yeah,
That's going to be a no for me, because one of the things is we can't chase dollars. You
yeah,
cannot chase dollars, right?
yeah.
And so I have found no's in business relationships
Hmm.
and have appreciated. And there's some that I've forced and it should have been no. I should
Wow.
have said
And
no,
you found
but
out
I
after the
forced.
fact.
Exactly. So
Yes.
that was a lesson learned. When the signs are there, you have to follow the signs, right?
Hmm.
And so that's where the no's have come from me.
Yeah.
Definitely collaborations, but because you can't work with everybody and you can't work, and everybody's not your client.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn that in business,
Yeah.
because yeah, I've been burned a few times. And
Hmm.
so, but I had to learn from that. And now I make better decisions. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And I feel like, yeah, if you have to force it, that's a no to me.
Yeah.
And that's just me personally. That's just how I know. If I'm still trying to get things done and it's not working, and I'm still trying to, like, okay, let it go.
That is so
That
good.
is, as George Fraser say, bless them and release them.
Yeah.
Bless them and release them. And
Mm.
I've learned to do that.
Yeah. That
I've
is
learned to
so good. I would only add to that, because that is so good that we would not force anything. That if it's supposed to be, it will be.
it will be.
Um, I would add to that we all have an inner voice. We all have this
Mhm. Yes.
unction, this intuitive. And we, as Donna said earlier, we have to still ourselves enough to honor it. But when you've been in that relationship that you end up finding out you shouldn't have been in, oftentimes we saw some red flags somewhere
Lord.
along the way that we ignored. We had this gut feeling, wherever you want to put it, in your head or in
That's
your gut,
it.
wherever
That's
you
it.
in your heart, wherever you want to put it, we end up with these unctions, if you will, that this is probably not a good idea. And, God can send a whispered no in that way intuitively. And then, as you said, you can find out on the back end, it was a big
Right.
no because I should not have forced it and tried
Exactly.
to make it happen. And so I would just say, it takes practice.
It
Just like
does.
anything else, it's like lifting weights. You really just have to start practicing, stilling yourself and saying, I really just need to pray about, journal about, get still about, what and meditate on whether or not this opportunity is for me. And then the last thing, I'll go back to what we said earlier about there's a level of contentment that happens while I'm waiting,
Mm.
so that if it doesn't come to pass, I'm not living in tomorrow today.
Yes.
Because right now, so many things, so many blessings, so many opportunities, so many things are here that if I'm not living right here and I'm so busy looking over there at what might happen or what I want to happen later, I may not get to take advantage of what's happening right here. And if I do take advantage of what's happening right here, a no won't feel as painful because I've gotten full off of
That's
what's
it.
happening right now. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
good. Girl, this has been good. I really appreciate and I love that you've written on it, you've lived it. And so to be able to tell someone, don't force it. to be able to just say, you have heard these things inside of you and have experienced them outside of you. I love that. Could you share with us, if we wanted to stay connected with you, if we wanted to read more about what you're writing, your talk show, all of the different ways that we can get connected and stay connected with you, Sharon? Could you share some of those with us?
Absolutely. My website is SharonHporter.com,
Mhm.
and I am on social media at I am Dr. Sharon, Dr. Sharon. And I just have to, just a very quick about that, I am Dr. Sharon. That was part of my affirmation as
Wow.
I was finishing my doctorate. That last semester was so hard. Oh my goodness, when you kept getting that manuscript back, had to do the revision, and I
Mhm.
just kept saying, I am Dr. Sharon. I am Dr. And so once I finished, I said, that's the name of my show.
Ooh, that is
So,
good. Whenever
people
I
think,
see the name of your show now, I'm gonna be like,
yes,
yes.
absolutely. And I always like to share that, because people think, because it's not about the doctor, you know what I'm
Right,
saying? That it's
right.
not, that, and I want people to know that was just my daily affirmation while I was working towards at the end of finally getting my dissertation. And
Yeah.
so I just went with that. So
Yeah.
yes,
I'm
I
so
am
glad
Dr.
you
Sharon.
said that because I live with that tension as well. Where my mama's here. My mama didn't name me doctor.
That's right.
My name is not doctor.
That's right.
I know my name and I use my name. But after 10 long years, after really
Listen,
feeling like I was not gonna get that thing,
listen.
and really just being down on it and being encouraged by people around you. That's a whole
Yes.
thing. Allowing people to encourage you and pour into you, and all of those. You gotta use what you got, what you were able to accomplish. So
Yes. So I
thank
just
you.
wanted to add that.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. So you all please go visit Sharon at SharonHporter.com. All of the information, her books, her publishing company, her educational leadership stuff, her talk show. You can start there to find out information about it all and go to her social media pages. I am Dr. Sharon. I love it. I love it. I'm going to keep that in mind. Thank you so much for being here with
Thank
us.
you.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You all have been with us just for 30 quick minutes. We make sure we get you out so you can go do dinner, whatever you need to do for the rest of the evening. This is our Wednesday night Facebook Live chat. We are Real Women Rock because we do. You can find information about us and our monthly sister circles at realwomenrock.org. Again, realwomenrock.org. Keep staying tuned on Wednesday nights. Every Wednesday night that we have a guest, we will be here with you to give you a sneak peek into a real conversation with real women. Y'all take care. Good night.